it's Jay.
And Sean.
And we watched a movie.
We did.
So apologies to all of you normal people out there who celebrate Christmas around Christmas.
December.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Christmas movie season starts as early as people start watching them. And that's back in August, according to Netflix stats. But Netflix is pumping them out on the regular, and so we will be reviewing them on the regular. And if you find that intolerable, I don't blame you. We upload a new video every day, so you could watch one of those instead. Today we are reviewing A New York Christmas Wedding. Now, I could not get this title right because there are already so many, like, New York weddings and Christmas, Christmas weddings in New York. So it was hard for me to get my mind around which exact perambulation of a New York Christmas wedding this one was. I think I've got it. A New York Christmas wedding. A New York Christmas wedding. Yeah. That's right. It is a New York Christmas wedding. Except, spoiler alert, everyone. If you are looking to start your Christmas season early, this one is barely dipping a toe into the Christmas season. So this film is actually set 5 months before Christmas when Jennifer, played by Nia Fairweather, and her fiance David, who is actually played by the writer and director of this movie, Otoja Abit. He plays David, her fiance. And they are hosting his parents. His parents are wealthy. What do they own? A Fortune 500
company, and he's the heir. And
he's the heir.
His mom can just be terrible to his fiance.
Apparently so. I mean, she's not really terrible to his fiance, but she is bulldozing this wedding. Since Jennifer has no family of her own.
Because they all died.
Right. Tragic
Christmas,
backstory. At and around Christmas, you know. So the mother is pushing for a Christmas Eve wedding, a big to-do, a formal affair with all of their friends and business associates, of course.
And Jennifer says, that's stupid. No one wants to come to a wedding on Christmas Eve. Mm-hmm. But she
doesn't get a say, no. Is the thing. So, because she's not a terrible daughter-in-law, she goes for a run instead of beating her mother-in-law up, which I'm going to try that next time.
My mom will thank you.
Yeah. That's right. I'm not getting arrested this year. She goes for a run, and on her run, she meets a fairy godfather type.
Her
guardian angel. So he is played by Koch. And so he offers her not really the solution to her problems, but perhaps some perspective. He's going to, well, he doesn't offer her this because she wakes up not knowing that she's in an alternate universe.
And she's very resistant to it.
Well, Sean.
But her guardian angel keeps telling her, and she's like, no, like, don't go to your apartment because it's going to be messed up. And she goes anyway.
Oh, I'm so glad that you, Mr. Logical, would wake up in an alternate universe and just be like, I accept my fate. Well, you know, maybe I miss Jay a little bit, but I'll just be married to this other person and...
No, it's about learning a lesson. You just have to get to it as quickly as possible so you can go back to your normal life.
This guy. Maybe your normal life doesn't want you back. Ever thought of that?
No.
Maybe this is actually my secret wish.
Oh,
that's right.
Okay.
Think of that, Sean.
I will next time, yeah. Next time I wake up in just a strange reality.
Somebody else's bed. Listen, don't pull that stuff with me. I'm not that naive, luckily. Anyways, so where is Jennifer woken up? She is woken up in a stranger's bed, but a stranger she soon sort of recognizes as her dead childhood best friend. So yes, just FYI, it's not just her parents who are dead. Her best friend died, like everybody around her died. She truly was alone in the world, except for David, who was not that good at standing up for her in front of his parents. But I guess if you're the heir, you have to kiss some tushy.
And if you've been orphaned, maybe you put up with not being treated the greatest.
That's right. Just be grateful you have any family at all. All right, Jennifer? They're paying for this wedding. What are you even complaining about? So she wakes up in Gabby's bed. Gabby, played by Adriana DeMeo. And, well, not so much Gabby's bed as their bed, because they are a couple.
They're a couple.
Who knew, this was news to us, that in her childhood, things had maybe been heading in this direction. She had feelings for her friend, could never quite confess them, and then they had a huge fight and the friend died. Let that be a lesson to you.
Yeah, well, don't be so dramatic, teens. Don't write your best friend a letter saying, I never want to see you again.
And they never did.
And they never did.
Except for in this alternate universe where they've always been together. And
right,
madly in love.
because Gabby didn't die.
That's right. And neither did Jennifer's father.
That's right.
So that's another little bonus, that she gets to see her dead father again. Mom's still dead.
Yeah.
Which seems cruel and unusual. Like,
yeah, it does.
Why not rescue her? Why did she deserve to stay dead? Even in your wildest dreams,
your mom's still
you can't have it all.
No.
So it turns out that Gabby and Jennifer are also planning to get married in this alternate universe. Except there's no like meddlesome mother-in-law to harsh their buzz. But there is a little something called
Catholicism.
The Catholic Church. Yeah. So somehow, like, they've both grown up in the Catholic Church, and Father Kelly, and let me tell you a little bit about Father Kelly. He's played by Chris Noth. And Chris Noth even produces this movie, so there's something here that really spoke to him.
Apparently.
It is no longer Sex in the City, it is Sacrament in the City, or else Sin in the City. And we'll get to that. But anyways, Father Kelly is a big deal in their life, and Gabby is the choir teacher or choir master or whatever that role is in their church. And so they very much like to get married in the church, but of course that is not allowed in Catholicism.
No, because they hate gay people.
They do. They are not okay with the gays. Even though Father Kelly is quite friendly with these two, is involved in their life, knowing what and who they are. And that seems okay with him, personally. But his hands are tied, he can't do anything. And that's...
I don't know if that's even better.
No, I'm not saying it's better, I'm just saying it's not up to him.
Well...
Except for this movie, I guess, is not just... Jennifer's alternate world, but the Catholic Church's alternate world. Because, boy, this movie is going to change some hearts and minds. Yeah, so it's a timely movie, guys, because, of course, a couple of weeks ago at a film festival, there was a documentary that ran that featured Pope Francis, and the quote went something like, well, we should tolerate civil unions because, you know, everyone deserves to have a family. Which sounds better than it actually was. Because he never said what kind of family they deserve. Like, do they deserve a spouse and children, or they just deserve not to be kicked out by their parents? Harder to say. Or was that family a spiritual family? Are they going to be welcome in the church? Hard to say, because it was not a church wedding that he was agreeing to. It was the legal civil wedding that he thought they should be able to be protected.
Yeah, which is totally different.
It is just totally different.
They should get tax breaks.
Yeah, and they already do in, I mean, not South American countries, well, most of them, where he is from. So that is a big deal. But it's still not an endorsement by any means from the Catholic Church. And his comments further went on to say that, like usual, they don't hate the sinner, they hate the sin. So the Catholic Church is willing to recognize that they could legally get married just as long as they never have any relations in the bedroom. You know, like most marriages.
Yeah.
Did he just agree?
Not this one.
Anyways, so that's a super practical solution, right?
Yeah.
We're so good-hearted that we will let you gays get married, but never ever act on it. Tax breaks, yes. Fun in the bedroom, no. Sorry, never that.
Yeah.
So guess what? It is not an endorsement.
That's Catholicism in a nutshell, though, isn't it?
And yet they're like, well, it's incremental progress. And it's like, well, in 2,000 years, that's the furthest we've been able to come? Jeez.
No one can wait that long.
Oh, Sean. Anyways, so in this movie, Father Kelly has a change of heart and he decides to marry them. Yeah. That's not even like the whole point of the movie, and yet it seems to have been the secret agenda of the movie. It is couched in a Christmas Hallmark type movie. The romance is there twice. Two couples getting married at Christmas equals actually no couples get married at Christmas. There's Christmas trees in the background sometimes. This is not Christmassy at all. And while it might be slightly romantic, we never see the romance. They're already couples in both instances. One has a meddlesome mother-in-law, the other has a meddlesome church. Yeah, so it's just really a movie about religion and their non-acceptance of gay people. And instead of calling it that in the title, they have tricked us into watching it by making us believe this might be a romantic holiday movie, which it is not.
And now you know.
Now you know. So I wouldn't even say this premise is bad. I think maybe they should have been a little more honest about it.
I would say the premise is bad.
Okay. But I feel like there's a very little way for people who grew up in the Catholic Church and are gay to like work on their feelings about that. Because there's still nothing, even though, you know, Pope Francis, his edited comments that were in a documentary, those are not official things that came from the church at any time. There's really nothing there for them, and so it must be difficult.
It must be. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where the Catholic Church as an institution, people just need to stop paying attention to it. Because they're wrong in a lot of ways.
Yes. Well, obviously there are some incredibly terrible interpretations of the Bible. And that's if you even believe that the Bible is written by God, which...
Yeah.
We'll leave that for another day. That's a whole other issue to another Christmas movie to unpack.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. We'll be talking about that one later on this month.
A New York Christmas Wedding 2.
Baby Jesus is born. And adopted by a gay couple. What?
Yep.
That's right.
Okay.
Oh boy. That's right. Mary is just the surrogate. An unwed mother.
I like it.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
This is even more controversial than the movie was.
It is, yeah.
Anyways, the movie is not controversial. The movie is like, let's accept them, even though Catholicism doesn't really like it. Father Kelly's gonna make an exception, even if it costs him his job.
Which it probably did.
And, it did. I guess you for.
Oh, did it actually?
Sure it did, yeah.
I didn't remember that we stuck around that long.
Well, she goes back to the David universe, but she still looks up what happened to her friend.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because let's remember, this whole thing has been whether or not the Catholic Church will be okay with the gays, but really this is supposed to be Jennifer's journey.
It's supposed to be a story.
Yeah, and so one day she finally does wake back up with David. So that's crazy. Especially because David was never the bad guy. So it's not like she needed to appreciate David, appreciate what she had. No, she was just shown an alternate universe, which also was full of love for her. Which is nice, I guess. No matter where you were, somebody would fall in love with you. But let's wake back up in the place where he's rich. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So there you have it. A New York Christmas wedding. I guess it's set in New York. Actually, it's not even all the way in New York. Most of it is not New York.
That's
so much
true.
so that her fiance is confused. Like, he thinks they're on another planet because they're in Queens.
Well, that's still New York.
Yes, it is, but he doesn't think so.
No, that's true.
He only thinks Manhattan is New York,
Yeah.
which most Manhattan people do believe.
I have heard that.
Yes. It's not really at Christmas, and we don't really see David and Jennifer get married. So, you know, take it for what you will. If the premise is interesting to you, it is not a terrible movie, but it is a movie of a quality like you might expect from a Hallmark Channel movie. Not a huge budget there.
No.
Except for Chris Noth, not a super recognizable cast, although I would say they were a competent cast.
Yeah, they were fine.
Yes, and it's not super romantic because it's not the
No, it's not
falling in
romantic at all.
love part
Yeah.
of the relationships, you know? It's actually the tough time of the relationship, dealing with in-laws and tiptoeing around its family issues.
Yeah, and standing up to your church who won't recognize your love.
Yes. Although, to be fair, Jennifer doesn't really know that they've been doing this because she just woke
She's
up
just
this
fresh on the
morning.
scene. Yeah.
Yeah, and her fiance does get real mad about that.
Well,
As she would.
She would have, yeah.
Yeah, I get mad at you all the time when you forget
I
really
forget
important
things.
stuff about our relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. Anyways, A New York Christmas Wedding. Have I said it enough? You can watch it on Netflix.
Yeah, you can.
So Netflix is hitting those Christmas movies hard, even when they're not really about Christmas. That's right. But they're gaming the system, so
Yeah. Well,
gotta hand it
I
to
think
them.
the writer-director gamed the system. He was very smart to put
Otoja,
Christmas in the title.
That's right. It does guarantee you an entree, doesn't it?
Netflix just picked it up. They're like, this sounds
Ooh.
exactly like the thing we need.
Yes, that's right. So it's there for you to enjoy or to ignore. Whether it totally depends on you.
If you want a Christmas movie, don't watch this one.
There are many,
There's tons
many
that are
others.
actually about Christmas.
Yes, and we will be reviewing all of them. So say a prayer to Father Kelly for us. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.